In this video, we're going to talk about the 5 things neurotypical partners misunderstand about ASD communication. So if you're in a relationship where one partner is autistic and the other is neurotypical, you've probably had this moment. You know, you walked away from a conversation thinking, how did we completely miss each other again? And the autistic partner is thinking, well, I said exactly what I meant. What just happened? So today we're going to talk about 5 things neurotypical partners commonly misunderstand about ASD communication, and more importantly, how to reframe those misunderstandings in ways that reduce hurt, defensiveness, and emotional distance. Now, this isn't about blame, it's about clarity, because most breakdowns in neurodiverse relationships are not about love. No, they're about interpretation. So let's get into it. To the NT wives out there, have you ever said something like, well, if you loved me, you'd talk about your feelings more? Okay, well, right there is the first common misread. A neurotypical partner thinks they don't open up emotionally, therefore they must not care enough. But here's what's often actually happening. For many autistic adults, emotional processing is internal and non-linear, and it can take longer to identify what they're feeling, longer to put language to it, and longer to feel safe enough to express it. Silence has to do with slow processing, not indifference. The neurotypical nervous system tends to regulate through relational exchange. In other words, talking it out creates connection. But the autistic nervous system often regulates through internal clarity first and connection later. So when a neurotypical partner pushes for immediate emotional expression, the autistic partner shuts down. Not because they don't love their spouse, but because their brain hasn't organized the data yet. Now here's the reframe. Instead of thinking, well, my ASD spouse is just emotionally unavailable, try this. He processes internally before he expresses externally. Now here's an actionable shift. Ask, would it help to have some time to think and then come back to this later? So consider creating a 24-hour processing agreement with your ASD spouse. Clarity improves safety, and safety improves expression. Now, as the neurotypical wife, you may have said something like, well, he's being blunt on purpose. That's the second misunderstanding. The neurotypical partner hears direct, literal communication and thinks, that was harsh, that was insensitive, that was uncaring, that was narcissistic, that was dismissive. But many autistic communicators prioritize accuracy over cushioning. Neurotypical communication tends to include social softeners like tone modulation, facial reassurance, indirect phrasing, emotional cushioning. But autistic communication often prioritizes precision, directness, and logical sequence. So when your ASD spouse says, well, that doesn't make any sense, he means exactly that. He's not saying, well, you're ridiculous. No. So here's the reframe. Instead of assuming negative intent, try, he's communicating content, not emotional commentary. Content first does not equal care less. Here's an actionable shift. Create a shared phrase, such as, okay, well, is that feedback or frustration? Or you can say, can you add some emotional tone to that? And for the autistic partner, a powerful adjustment is adding one sentence. It goes like this. I'm not upset, I'm just trying to understand. That one line right there can prevent hours of repair later. Now to the NTYs again, have you ever said something like, well, he doesn't care because he doesn't notice? This one hurts deeply. The neurotypical partner thinks, well, he doesn't notice I'm overwhelmed, he didn't see I was sad, he didn't respond when I needed comfort. And your conclusion becomes, he doesn't care. But here's what you need to understand. Many autistic adults struggle with rapid social emotional cue detection, especially subtle cues. They're going to miss microfacial shifts, tone changes, indirect bids for reassurance, implied emotional meaning, not because your ASD spouse doesn't care, but because implicit communication is not always neurologically intuitive. Neurotypical partners often send emotional signals directly, sighing, withdrawing slightly, changing tone, saying, I'm fine, and expecting the ASD spouse to detect it? Autistic communication often requires explicit data. Now here's the reframe. Instead of thinking, well, if he loved me, he'd just know. Try, if I need something, I may need to say it clearly. Now here's the actionable shift. Practice explicit bids. Instead of, well, I guess I'll just do it myself. Try, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I need help right now. Clarity feels unromantic sometimes, I understand, but it builds security, and security builds intimacy. And isn't that what you're shooting for? Now to the NT spouses again. You may have said something like, well, he's arguing to win. That's the fourth misunderstanding now. The neurotypical partner feels like the autistic partner turns every disagreement into a debate. It can feel like nitpicking, fact-checking, correcting details, refusing to let it go. And emotionally, it feels like he's trying to win every time. He's always trying to make me wrong. He's always trying to make me the irrational, overly emotional person. But for many autistic adults, precision is regulation. If the data is wrong, the system feels unstable. So correcting the detail is not about dominance or trying to control or minimize. It's about restoring internal coherence. Meanwhile, the neurotypical partner is communicating emotionally. I'm hurt, I feel unseen, I need reassurance. But your autistic partner hears there is an inaccuracy in the narrative. Two completely different tracks. So here's the reframe. Instead of, well, he cares more about being right than about me. Try, he's regulating through accuracy. Now here's an actionable shift. Use layered communication. The neurotypical partner can say, well, the detail may not be exact, but what I really need you to hear is that I felt dismissed. And the autistic partner can respond, okay, well, I understand the feeling matters more than the timeline right now. This bridges logic and emotion. Both matter, but sequence matters too. To the neurotypical wives again, maybe you said something like, well, he's withdrawing to punish me. This one causes enormous damage. After conflict, the autistic partner may go quiet, leave the room, shut down, stop responding, and the neurotypical partner often interprets that as, well, he's stonewalling me again, he's punishing me, he's abandoning the relationship. But what we're dealing with there is nervous system overload. Autistic nervous systems can hit overload faster during conflict, especially when voices rise, emotional intensity increases, multiple demands are happening, processing speed is exceeded. Shutdown is frequently protective, not punitive. Here's the reframe. Instead of, well, he's pulling away from me again, try, his nervous system is overwhelmed again. Here's an actionable shift. Create a conflict pause plan. For example, well, if either of us gets overloaded, we can take a 30-minute break and then reconnect at a specific time. Is that okay? That reconnection agreement is crucial. Without it, distance feels like abandonment. With it, distance feels like regulation. Now here's the deeper truth. Most neurodiverse couples are not fighting about values. They're fighting about interpretation. The neurotypical partner interprets communication through emotional subtext. The autistic partner communicates through clarity and structure. So when subtext meets structure without translation, both partners feel unseen. So here's the summary. To the NT wives, listen. Processing time is not emotional avoidance. Directness is not cruelty. Missing cues is not indifference. Correcting details is not trying to win. And withdrawal is not punishment. Now, if you can shift from what does this mean about us to what does this mean about nervous system differences, you can change the whole trajectory of your relationship. Neurodiverse relationships don't need more love, they need more translation. Now, if this helped you, let me know in the comments which of the 5 resonates most in your relationship. And if you'd like more tools on how to build safety and clarity in neurodiverse communication, subscribe and stay connected. I'll see you in the next video. Would you like to schedule a paid private coaching session? This will be in the form of a face-to-face Zoom call. Underneath any of my videos, you'll see this Calendly link. If you click on that link, It'll open up my calendar. You can pick the available days and times that works for your schedule. You'll get a follow-up email immediately after purchasing a session that will have the Zoom link that coincides with the day and time that you picked. I will get an email too that you scheduled a session, and I will be available on that exact day and time, and we will talk. I look forward to working with you.